Under the Speaker's announced policy of January 6, 1999, and under a previous order of the House, the following members are recognized for 5 minutes each. The gentleman from Texas, Mr. Paul.
Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to revise and extend my remarks.
It's so ordered.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The financial markets are now nervously watching the impasse now reached in the presidential election. Many commentators have already claimed the most recent drop in the market is a consequence of the uncertainty about the outcome of the election. Although it would be a mistake to totally dismiss the influence of the election uncertainty as a factor in the economy, it must be made clear that the markets and the economy are driven by something much more basic. We know that the markets have been off significantly for the past several months, and this drop was not related in any way to the presidential election. Confidence is an important factor in the way markets work, and certainly the confusion in the presidential election does not convey confidence to investors and to the rest of the world. Mises, the great 20th century economist, predicted decades before the fall of the Soviet system that socialism was unworkable and would collapse upon itself. Although he did not live to see it, he would not have been surprised to witness the events of 1989 with the collapse of the entire communist Soviet system. Likewise, the interventionist welfare system endorsed by the West, including the United States, is unworkable. Even without the current problems in the presidential election, signs of an impasse within our system were evident. Inevitably, in a system that decides almost everything through pure democracy, will sharply alienate two groups: the producers and the recipients of the goods distributed by the popularly elected Congresses. Our system is not only unfairly designed to take care of those who don't work, it also rewards powerful and influentials who can gain control of the government apparatus. Control over government contracts, the military-industrial complex, the use of our military to protect financial interests overseas is worth great sums of money to the special interest in power. Even though it is argued that there are huge budget surpluses in Washington, instead of budget compromise, a stalemate results. Each side wants even a greater share of the loot being distributed by the politicians. Even with the windfall revenues, no serious suggestion is made in Washington for cuts in spending. Instead of moving toward a market economy and less dependency on the federal government in the midst of this so-called prosperity, we continue to go in the other direction by internationalizing the interventionist welfare system. Planning by government has gone international as the political power is delivered to organizations like the United Nations, the World Trade Organization, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank. Although in the early stages of interventionism and government planning, especially when a great deal of wealth is available for redistribution, it seems to enhance prosperity while prolonging the financial bubble on which the economy is dependent. The monetary system, both our domestic system as well as the international fiat system, plays a key role in the artificial prosperity based on inflated currencies as well as debt and speculation. The pretended goal of the economic planners has been economic fairness through redistribution of wealth, politically correct social consciousness, and an all-intrusive government that becomes a responsibility for personal safety, health, and education, while personal responsibility is diminished. The goal of liberty has long been forgotten. The concentrated effort has been to gain power through the control of wealth with a scheme that pretends to treat everybody fairly. An impasse was destined to come, and already signs are present in our system of welfarism. This election in many ways politically demonstrates this economic reality. The political stalemate reflects the stalemate that is developing in the economy. Both will eventually cause deep division and hardship. And the real problem, the preserving of the free market and private property rights, if ignored, will only make things worse, because the only solution that will be offered in Washington will be more government intervention, increased spending, increase in monetary inflation, more debt, greater military activity throughout the world, and priming the economic pump with more expenditures for weapons we don't need. We have already seen signs of economic troubles ahead. Although the Fed plans for only a slight slowdown and a so-called soft landing, the correction from the monetary mischief of the last 10 years has already been determined. Although the dollar currently remains strong because of other currencies are so weak, There is a limitation on how long we can create new dollars without them being devalued. A weaker dollar will surely come in our not-too-distant future. Our huge current account deficit and trade imbalances warn us of that day. Government statistics continue to tell us that price inflation is not a problem, and when an inflation statistics come out that it doesn't like, it drops out food and energy and claims that the number is totally benign.
The gentleman's time has expired. The gentleman previously received unanimous consent to revise and extend.